YouTube, how the duck you doing? Duck Films here. What I got for you today is a video ranking and explaining all of the shard cards in FragPunk. If you're new to FragPunk or you're just interested in the game, I highly recommend checking out this video. But anyways, I hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Let me just tell you, there's a whole lot of shard cards to go over and a whole lot of variations to go through. There's three categories when it comes to the shard cards. You of course have Lancer, which is essentially going to be affecting the player. You have Weapon, which is going to affect your weapon, and Rule, which is going to affect the terrain and whatnot. After that, there's going to be a different type of category, the actual effects. For example, Death Rattle triggers on death, so if you die in a round, this effect will happen. Join Forces is going to be when you're next to friendly teammates. Disengage is going to be your out of combat effects, which end up triggering about 2 seconds after you're out of combat. Now Converter is typically when the bomb is quote unquote planted, this effect will occur. Now when you see a card with the N, it means end points. To sum it up, each point you put in will be multiplied by whatever the card says. You can vote on it up to 4 times, and it'll be 4 times whatever the card says. Most of these cards are typically very good, but there's some you should stay away from. Then you have Bullet, which is pretty self-explanatory. The card will affect your bullets. Then when the card has Kill, on achieving a kill, you'll end up getting this result. When it says skill, just like the bullet's pretty self-explanatory, it affects your skill. Now I believe, don't quote me on this, there's only one skill card effect in this game, just the skill Vampire. Now that you know how the card perks work, let's dive into actually explaining and ranking these cards. So kicking things off, we're looking at the offense and defensive swap. This card is very good if you know what the other team is using, specifically if they're using the water slide card. 30 seconds adds 30 seconds as an attacker, minus 30 seconds is minus 30 seconds as a defender. Sight Deletion is a very good card. Sight Deletion is a very good card. It removes one sight and focuses all your attention onto one sight. Clear Path can be useful, but it's better off saving your points. Parting Explosion is also a very good card. It also is a death rattle effect, so keep in mind for this card to take effect, you or your teammate has to die, so I recommend running at people. Battle Frenzy is also a great card as it adds all skills +1 on a kill. Loomprint is also a very great card, especially paired with the Fog card. Pair insanely well together. Now Community Healthcare can be good at some points, but it's not the best card. Medical Error is a very good card as it lasts throughout the entire round, and if you see it, it's pretty good to pick up. But don't get me wrong, there's always better options than just picking Medical Error. I would say Medical Error and Community Healthcare are your second priorities when picking these cards. Try to find something that's better than these two at the time of picking cards. Now, Roger Roger can be a very good card. You can kind of use the bots to help you bait out enemies, or on the other hand, it could be detrimental to your team. Say the enemies are running kill cards, then Roger Roger is not the best card. Mass Cheetah is just a great card in general, and I definitely recommend if you see it just to pick it. There's no cons to picking this card, so just go ahead and pick it. Now moving down a section, Health Club, it's just a max HP increase to 125. Paired with some other health cards, you're practically invincible. Full Firepower, I would stay away from this card, it's not really needed. It can be good, yes, but it's just not really worth it. As well as Explosive Shot. Explosive Shot is not the best card, but it's not the worst card. You have your bullets that turn into explosives, but what I've kind of found, I'm not sure if this is a bug, is that your bullets end up doing a little less damage. Big Head is an insanely good card, and if you see it, you should always pick it. It makes the enemy's head super big so you can get super easy headshots. Healing Shot is also a great card. Now, I didn't really use it when I played the game, but based off what it actually is, it is a fairly decent card. Now, Extra Pellets, this only really is needed if you actually use Shotgun, otherwise you're just wasting 3 points. Superfly is a great card that pairs insanely well with Mass Cheetah. You're pairing 25% movement speed with a double jump ability. Double jump is super useful in this game, and I highly encourage you to pick it if you get it. Now Skill Replenish is another great card. When I was playing the game, a lot of people slept on this card, and I highly encourage you to pick it if you get the chance. Now moving on to Weapon Enhancement. Weapon Enhancement is a great card. Extra damage, better stability, things like that for a gun. Parting Flash can also be very useful. It is a death rattle, so either you or your teammate has to die for it to take effect. Quick Defuse can be useful, but the time it takes to defuse a bomb in this game is not too long, so you can get away with not picking it. Quick Start, another very great movement card. Movement speed for 5 seconds after combat starts. Now Frozen Wasteland can be good. It changes the entire map to be covered in ice, and you can pretty much slide anywhere. So if you're attacking, I definitely recommend this card. Extra Converters can be also very well when attacking, again as it is end points. It's however many points you put on it is the amount you'll get out. Now Plenty of Ammo, you really don't need this card. You get enough ammo in general, so I would try to stay away from this. While on the other hand, Turtle Back is pretty insane. It's reduced damage damage taken from the back. So if you have the choices between Turtleback and plenty of ammo, or most other cards, choose Turtleback. There's no other reason not to. Moving down, we have Long Dash. Long Dash can be useful. It's really up to you if you really want to use it. Whereas Eye of the Reaper is pretty insane. It's very useful if you actually want to plant the bomb, unlike most people in this game. Once you plant the bomb, it's going to expose nearby enemies in the surrounding area. Keep in mind, it's not the entire map, just a general area. Now, chain reaction can be super useful, but it only really matters if people are next to each other on the enemy team. Dragon's Breath, as the name intends, is only really useful if you or your team is using shotguns. If you're not using shotguns, don't pick the card and waste your points. Now, Clone Tech can be super useful, especially if you're playing it with at least one other person you know. You can easily communicate to pick the same Lancer. Regenerative Therapy is another really good HP card. Out of combat, you regain HP. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy to understand. Blade Master is another great card, or it can be pretty useful. Pretty much you can block all incoming bullets above the knee. It can be very useful at some points, but sometimes maybe not. Cloaking Plant, don't use this, please. It turns the entire terrain into a jungle and you can't see anything. Now this card, Headshot Master, is quite literally insane. If everyone on your team has points, pump as many points as you can into Headshot Master. Then take your time. You don't really need to take your time. It's not that useful of a card, but to some people it may be useful. Then HUD Remix. HUD Remix is actually super cool and unique. It's when you're targeting an enemy Lancer, you can switch their HP with yours. Say they get first shot on you, quickly swap your HP and you're completely fine. Moving on to Extra Sight. Extra Sight can be super useful on attacking, so it gives you another avenue to attack from. Moving on to Free For All. Free For All can be useful, but you really don't need to pick this card unless you really want to use a weapon you died with. There's so many better options to choose from than Free For All. Then moving to Fog of War. Please don't pick this card if you're in my game. Nobody likes Fog of War. Unless you're playing Hollow Point, don't pick Fog of War, please. This turns everything foggy and it's impossible to see anything for both teams. So I guess everyone's at an even playing field because no one can see each other, but regardless, don't pick it. Killstreak bonus can be very good. You just have to grasp for this card to be actually super useful. You have to get kills, which isn't too difficult, but it can be difficult to some. Now the next card, Avenge Me, is actually pretty insane. It increased, and I believe it does stack, but I could be wrong. So if you see Avenge Me, I would definitely pick this card as it's super fun to use. If you're not doing the best on the team, just run in and die, give your team that extra damage boost, and simply watch them fry enemies while you can sit back and relax. Then moving on to Ricochet. Ricochet is super goofy and super fun. Your bullets can bounce up to 3 times, and it leads to a couple hilarious kills. Simply shoot a wall or a doorway, that's a pretty good choke, and then spam your gun and watch the kills come in. I definitely recommend to pick it if it's there, as it's just a unique card and you don't know what will happen. Moving on to Parting Vision. Parting Vision is another death rattle card, so it triggers on death, where it will expose nearby enemies. Now it's kind of like in a circular area, so you kind of have to step in that circular area, so it's only good if you're really up close. Fire Warrior is really good. It's another death rattle skill, and it's if you die, you turn into a zombie that you can still melee and get kills. So I recommend if you get this to pick it. Driving Rain is insane for defender side. It essentially creates water slides around the map that pushes away the attackers, or at least slows them down. Moving on from Driving Rain, we have Lifesaver. Lifesaver allows you to res teammates if they end up dying. Again, it's death rattle, so it triggers on death, where you can go up and res your teammate that has died, and it's super useful in clutch situations. The next card is Holistic Medicine. It's kill and it's end points. So on kill, however many points you put in, it will give you that much HP back. Then Vampire Bullets. Vampire Bullets is a very great card. If you see it, dump a lot of points into it. It affects your bullets and its end points, so you don't have to get a kill or you have to die or anything like that. Simply shoot enemies and you get HP back. Maximum Overhealth is another great card, especially paired with all the other healing cards. So again, I definitely recommend picking this card if you have it. Skill Vampire is another great card. Your skills will apply lifesteal abilities, so again, it's another very great card. Now the best and most annoying card in this game is Death's Embrace, where if you do just the slightest amount of damage, a circle will appear around you or an enemy, and you'll end up getting slashed by a Reaper for 150 damage. You have give or take a second to get out of that circle and live. Bulletproof doors can be useful. I mean, it's not the best thing, it's not the worst thing. Same with Security Check. Again, not the best, not the worst, it's mid. Moving on from Security Check, we have Weapon or Life, where once you take enough damage to die, you'll drop your primary weapon and be turned into a little ball form to move around, and you have a little bit so you get a second chance at life. Rift expansion, it's not really needed. I see a lot of people not planting the bomb anyways, so it's up to you if you really want to pick this card. Whereas if you got freestyle placement, I would choose freestyle placement over Rift expansion purely for the fact that you can plant the bomb in your spawn, making it super easy to defend. Now, after freestyle placement is bounce mushrooms. Bounce mushrooms are actually insane, especially for attacking. You can easily bounce across the map in a matter of seconds, allowing you to get the jump on the enemies. Just how I said about like Rift expansion and all the other converters things. Nerfed A site and nerfed B site, they can be useful, but there's better options to choose from. I'd much rather pick freestyle plant or any other perks in the two nerf sites. Same with the other card, relocation. Again, it can be useful, but there's just so many better options to choose from than things such as relocation in the nerf sites. You can move this site around to however you want, but once it's planted, it's planted. And let's say you move the site to a pretty bad spot, but now you're stuck with retaking a terrible angle. Close Havoc is a pretty good card. For however many points you put in, you'll do more damage up close, again as it's bullet and end points. Then moving down, just like Close Havoc, they have an identical card for Time to Snipe, which is you do more damage at range. You pair Time to Snipe with the headshot card, and you literally will be able to one-tap people with the M4, and it's really insane to use. So definitely dump your points into this. Fog Phantoms, just like the Fog of War card. If you pick Fog or any Fog card, you're kind of insane, but essentially the map turns foggy and these phantoms run around pinging enemies for you. It can be useful, but again, you lose the vision. Now, Psychic Link is pretty good. You can switch to an enemy's position for a short period of time. It will give you a third-person point of view of where your enemy is. Swift Support can be useful, but there's better cards. You can teleport to teammates from across the map and whatnot. Then moving on from Swift Support, we have Initial Scan, where 10 seconds after the round starts, you get a scan for 3 seconds of where your enemies are and whatnot, so you can easily defend and prepare where enemies are going to be. Again, a great card and definitely recommend it. Lucky Bullets can be useful, but there's simply better cards to choose from. Hard Rain, again, there's better cards to choose from, but after a disengage, if you stand in the raining area, you get a shield, so it can be useful to some. Soul Chain is pretty cool. Upon an enemy's death, they drop a soul. If you claim enough souls, you can turn into that Lancer, gaining their abilities and whatnot, so it's a pretty cool shard card. Last but not least is Reaper's Sight. It would generate these little pads all around the map where you can teleport to. But that's pretty much my summed up and quick version of every single shard card in FragPunk. If you like this type of content or want to see more, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys later.